Hey everyone! We're about to dive into one of the most powerful technologies out there, machine learning. But don't worry, we're going to break it all down so that anyone can understand how this stuff really works.
So let me ask you something. Ever wonder how your phone just unlocks by seeing your face? It kind of feels like magic, right? Well, it's not magic. It's a technology called machine learning, and that is just the beginning. And because this technology is so powerful, it's not just for Silicon Valley anymore. In fact, the source for this whole explainer highlights a really huge mission, helping people all across India become experts in machine learning. The goal is to give an entire nation these skills, to turn curiosity into real-world ability. So in that spirit, let's start building that ability right now by figuring out what machine learning really is. Okay, so what is machine learning? When you get right down to it, it's all about teaching computers to do something that, for a long time, we thought was only human, the ability to learn.
Forget all the complicated jargon for a second. Think of it like this. Machine learning is just the art of showing a computer a ton of examples, what we call data, so that it can figure out the hidden patterns and then use that knowledge to make decisions or solve problems all by itself.
The whole process really boils down to just these three simple steps. First, a computer looks at a massive amount of data. Second, it finds a pattern. And third, it uses that pattern to solve a problem. That's it. That's the core idea right there. So where does this actually show up? Well, this isn't some theory locked away in a lab. You're using machine learning every single day, and you probably don't even realize it. Let's look at a few examples you'll definitely recognize.
Hey, remember that first question about your phone? That's machine learning right there. Your phone's software was trained on thousands and thousands of images, which let it learn the general pattern of a human face so it can recognize yours instantly.
Now take that same idea and scale it way, way up for things like self-driving cars. They use machine learning to constantly recognize patterns in the real world, other cars, people, traffic lights, so they can navigate safely. And when you talk to a smart assistant, that's machine learning again. These devices are trained on just countless hours of human speech. That's how they're able to recognize the patterns in your voice and understand what you're asking for. This very same principle helps robots do some incredibly complex tasks. By learning from data, they can do everything from assembling cars to assisting in really delicate surgeries, often with a precision that can even surpass a human's. The key takeaway here is pretty simple. Machine learning takes these incredibly complex challenges and just makes them look easy. From our phones to our cars, it's the invisible engine running in the background of our world. Seeing all this might make it seem kinda out of reach, but it's really not. Getting started on your own journey into machine learning is way more accessible than you might think. It really just comes down to two key things. This is the big question, right? What does it actually take to begin learning how to teach computers to think for themselves? Well, you don't need a PhD to get going. According to our source, the two main things you need are a foundation in basic Python programming, that's the language people use a lot, and a handle on high school level math, especially statistics. Those are your real starting blocks. And once you have that foundation, the most important thing is to just begin. This isn't about becoming an expert overnight. It's a powerful call to action to just take that very first step and start learning. So if you take away just one thing today, let it be this. Machine learning is a powerful tool that allows us to teach computers to find patterns in data. And we can use that tool to solve some of our biggest and smallest problems. And that really brings us to our final thought. Now that you know the basics, the only real question left is, what problem will you teach a computer to solve first? The possibilities are truly endless, and they're just waiting for you to explore.